Do another video for our lettering project. Yesterday we learned how to do breaking points, and a breaking point is just a change in plane. So we're going to be incorporating that into our lettering along with a few other things today. So far we have covered 3D block letters, and we added serifs, which is the design at the bottom of your letter, and flourishes, which are at the top. We learned how to make breaking points. Today we're going to add in overlapping, and with that we're going to add in connections and extensions. One of the types of extensions and connections are bits. So some new vocabulary over here. So we started with our letters, and we made those into basic block letters. And then we started to give them a little bit of style with flourishes and serifs. So you might have done something like this. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to smoosh our letters together, for lack of a better term, and we're going to try to create overlapping ways that our letters can interact. So if I use this same style of flourishes and serifs, that might look like this. So I might move my O over. Okay, I might move my L over so that it goes behind my O. I'm going to use that same serif at the bottom and at the top. I'm going to overlap these a little bit so I'm not going to see my whole second L. Okay, so I'm smooshing them together. And if I bring my Y down, I can create an extension. Okay, so that's one option. That's my first attempt. I could get my Y a little bit closer because there's a little bit of a space here, but then you wouldn't see my little ding flourish at the top. So you kind of have to make a choice, and really all this is experimenting. Your first idea is never your best idea. The first idea is just the first idea, and then the second idea, and then the third idea, and then, ooh, I got an inspiration for a totally different idea. And your ideas expand the more you continue to experiment. And as long as you go towards this idea with a spirit of experimentation and not getting stuck on, I have to make this perfect. Because this isn't our final project. This is a sketch. It's a thumbnail. Graphic designers do this. A graphic designer as a career is a fun job because, people contact the graphic design agency and they say, hey, I need a new logo for this or that. And their designers then start sketching, and they say, okay, well, what can I do with that? And so they experiment and they come up with 20 or 30 ideas, and then they nose down, and then they refine one or two or three that are closest to what the buyer wanted. And then they present those to the buyer, and the buyer says, I like this one, but I don't like this about it. And so then the artist goes back to the drawing board and changes the things that the buyer didn't like, or includes the ideas that he had once he sees what the artist has come up with. And so you end up with tons of sketches, tons of thumbnails and ideas. So that's what this is. We're just brainstorming, okay? Nothing here has to be perfect. If I want to try to include my breaking point, I can say, okay, I like this Y. I'm going to see if I can make it into a breaking point. I don't have to redraw the whole thing. I can make my Y and say, okay, I'm going to come down, over, up, and then I have to put in my angles, right? So I'm going to come down this way. Okay. So my Y is going to attach here. Let's come down, over, up, over. So now I have a breaking point. When I see that breaking point, that makes me think, right now I just had this idea, what if I put my O down in the breaking point? It made it look like it was like floating down there. So I can try that. I'm working with, okay, so that looks cool. That's definitely a possibility. So I can experiment with that more. I can do this part. And so if I make my O angled like this, it could be the same angle. So now I've just completely changed my font. I'm following my inspiration. And that's what artists want to do. And if this becomes 3D and it's going the same way, that looks so cool. It's going to look like it's floating in the space, in the breaking point. And you can't even see that on the screen because I ran off the screen. Okay, now you can. So then I start all over because now I have new inspiration. So I have my O. And it fits down. Oh, that's not a very good O, but it's just a sketch. Fits down in the Y. Okay, so now my L. Nope, I want to do this part first because I like that. So these are the things I like. So now I make everything else fit that. So then I have my L, but I want to put it over here. So I'm going to move it over. So then it's just become this totally different thing. I'm going to put this one up a little bit higher. Nope, up here. Okay. And then my Y is going to come down, around like that. It's also 3D. And then I need to figure out my M. Now my M has some potential here. So we can do another angle on the M. Bless me. My bad. Sorry. Ooh, I don't know if that's going to work. But so what I'm doing right now is I'm modeling kind of the spirit of experimentation that you want to work for as you're working. Like, don't get too set on it has to be this way because it might not end up that way. That way might not end up working. Okay, the L being higher, this L being higher than this one is kind of cool because the O steps down more too, but my M should be taller. And I need to refine that idea. So I can pursue this idea. I'm going to bring this back over here even more. And extend that so that it's all the way under the M. There's all kinds of cool stuff I can do. Another thing that I can do is connections. I can make one thing connect to another thing. So if I wanted to, M here, if I go back to this style, could connect over to the Y. Could have those connecting and touching in each one, coming down and like standing on that Y. That kind of looks cool. Bits are when you break things into bits. So if I wanted to do bits on the Y, I could, here's my Y coming down, I could make little bits. And as long as I continue it, then that kind of matches up and works. For the sake of time, I'm going to show you some. I got obsessed with the bit idea. I really, really liked it. So I started messing with that. Had the inspiration with that. Then I went up here and I was like, oh, I could make bits on all the letters. And so I started breaking all the letters into bits. But I needed to refine that. So then I came down here and I did this one, and this one was looking much better. And I was like, this time it ended up like really tall on the M. I was like, ooh, I want to do that on purpose. So then my final bit name ended up looking like this. I was kind of following the same, this was a different demonstration during a different class. And I had the O idea then, but I didn't follow it through then. I got stuck on the bit one. This time, during this demonstration, I got stuck on the O and following the breakthrough through as an idea. So that is basically just modeling the process of experimentation. You know, how you change little things, try other things. So you have all these things that we've learned. Options. They're all options. You don't have to use all of them in one word, one time. And don't get stuck on, I'm only going to do this, because if you get inspired to try something else, follow that inspiration through, even if it's just for a little ways. Okay? So that was kind of a long video, but was a lot of information to share. I hope you will enjoy the experimentation. It is supposed to be fun. I want to stress that. This is supposed to be fun. It's an exploration. It's not something you might normally take the time to do, but it's enjoyable if you allow yourself to enjoy it and try different things and don't get hung up on having to be perfect. I did the bit one, 2, 3, 4 times before I got something that even looked halfway decent. The same thing here. This is not finished product. It's a sketch. It's an idea. It's an exploration. So have fun.